Right. Well, there's nobody home, so let's start drawing now that we have a chance to. Um, Picking up where I left off, I had some ideas about page 6. This is page 2. I've got pages 1 through 5 drawn. I was looking at the playback for this video and I hated the way this hand looked. So it's worth it to try and finish it. One of those critical things you need to do as an artist is develop an eye for detail, and that means correcting your own details. Things like line weights. All right, well, maybe. It reads a little bit more as a hand. I kind of want to do more. I had the idea of doing another thing I noticed when I'm doing some. You can't really tell, but I'm doing little bubbles here. But I had an idea when I was looking at the playback, is I could make this look a little bit more viscous if I made these like bubbles. Coming out. And then allowed for a more white or negative space in the liquid coming out. Anyways, let's get back to this slithy Tove here. Also watched a another cartoonist kayfabe. They're so great. This one was about Robert Crumb's covers. So much stuff I had never seen before was in there. A lot of good stuff. I've seen a lot of it. I've got both the or all of the kitchen sink press, or is it Fantagraphics Complete Crumb? You know, the ones with the years of bitter struggle and so on, all the way up to the little bit more modern era of Crumb. And it's just really good. A lot of it's very autobiographical. There's a huge sort of a autobiographical section where he talks about, working at American Greetings, which, by the way, my brother-in-law worked there. That's my sister's husband, and knew of the connection. He's also an artist, by the way. Anyway, I hear he's not. I don't want to give away too many details. Like, he doesn't seem to enjoy his status as being a full-time professional. Actually, I don't know any full-time professional artists that really seem to be getting a lot out of it. I hear a lot of, I don't have time to work on my own stuff. I feel like I'm drained at the end of the day. I hear all this stuff. I think that, quite frankly, art sounds like a really tough way to make a living and doesn't seem to be particularly well compensated unless you are kind of at the top tier of the game. And that's probably true of any profession. Um, I make plenty of money at my regular job doing regular things. I get to be creative and I get to not think about it too much. And that is quite a benefit. All right, let's see. This better be Gasinki ink, it is. What is wrong here? Line weight. Always line weight. All right. Now the way to fix this, of course, if it is fixable, or why I say fix, the way to make it look three-dimensional is contour lines. Ooh, that one went out the line, went out of the realm. I was looking at the video I made yesterday, and I was looking at my light rays that I had coming in from the side, these diagonal light rays, and I'm thinking I'm going to put them back in. Um, I think that was a good instinct. The trouble is you really do have to get them right. Which means you have to get the shadows right. If these are the lights, then that means, you know, you got to make sure that the rest of it's right. I almost want to make this heel different. What if the heel is right this, or even that's too much of a flex. Something like that. I think that actually does it. And in both cases, I know I have my feet a little bit too large, so let's, there we go. Something like that. All right, now who could be contacting me at a time like this? Did you hear the little beep? That was the Discord beep. Hopefully it's just nothing. All right. That actually kind of seems to work. If my feathering works okay. I'm not sure my feathering did work okay. It is what it is. Um, you have to kind of give yourself the freedom to fail, to give yourself permission to draw a sucky drawing every once in a while, or perhaps even more often than once in a while. And the reason for that is you need to make mistakes in order to improve. So, you know, you might think, oh, meticulously correcting all my mistakes, that's the way to improve. Not necessarily. Go ahead, make it, give it some time, think about it. A lot of times you don't even know you're making a mistake. You haven't developed the critical capability yet. Some people will never develop that critical capability. I just started reading the Shonen Jump Guide to Making Manga, and a lot of people didn't like it. I was reading the reviews of it. Oh, I spent $10.99 to learn that you know you you need to um, start small. Don't worry about being perfect. Draw what you like. What are some of the others they said in there? That there's no formula for success. Um, yeah, you did. You did. Because you know what? It's taken me since 2019. What is it? 2022 now. Um, like the lessons just in the opening essay, or I don't know if it's the open. I don't know how far I've read in it yet. I read it on Kindle, so it's hard to tell how far I am through a book. But they didn't really begin to solidify for me for a couple of years, and I still didn't have the pencil chops to keep up with it. And some people still didn't have those pencil chops. Like they're just like, all right, I've intellectualized the idea of what you just said. I've heard it from multiple people, but I, you know, Just not ready to hear it for whatever reason, or to understand it, or understand what it really truly means. Oh, there it is. Now I can see it. Okay, it's a Lightbox Expo saying hello, everyone. Speaking of which, I made a whole video about this and then I didn't use it because I changed my mind about one of the decisions I had made. But Dungeon 23 is happening soon, and I am going in. I'm gonna go in and do it. Dungeon 23 is a this guy's gonna have more of a fishy mouth. Dungeon 23. So here's the idea. In Dungeons and Dragons, it's often kind of a pain in the butt to be creating dungeons, but it is kind of one of the fun um, solo things that you can do in D&D as a DM is to create a dungeon. And one of the most coveted types of old school dungeons is the mega dungeon, which is multiple levels. I don't know what the official definition is. In my personal definition, it's at least, I don't know. I would say at a minimum 3 levels deep, if not more. Probably 10 levels at least. You know, you got to go deep. Got to go deep, and it gets um, very different and weird as you go down. And so this is the idea that this dude had, is to get like a journal, like a handwritten journal. Where's mine? He's around here somewhere. And every single day, like Inktober, every single day you're gonna detail out one dungeon room. Um, and every month you will you'll have a level. You'll switch levels every month. So at the end of the year, you will have a 12 level deep, 365 room dungeon, mega dungeon. Um, Now, there are some doubts that are coming into my mind because I've actually made mega dungeons. I made something called Phantasmagorica, which has, oh, I don't know. I think it had 9 levels when it was going, when it was playing, and I was still developing it as we were using it. Um, and I like the idea. I really enjoy making dungeons, especially multi-level dungeons. I did that even when I don't have a D&D group to play with. Because that was kind of the ideal preferred method when I was in high school. Like that's um, the mega dungeon, the multi-level dungeon. It was just cool. I had one called Temple of Loki um, when I was in high school that was kind of infamous. And every level had a theme. Like I remember level 4 was the ice theme, and I remember level 5 there was a weird fairy tale theme with. Oh, I don't even want to go into the details because I still want to use them in one of my comics. But there was a gingerbread house with a witch living in it, and gingerbread ogres. There was all kinds of stuff. There was a demon castle or a devil castle. I remember there was ice level. There was the gingerbread level. There was the ice. It kind of reminds me of Trove almost. Then there was kind of the demon level with Mephistopheles. It's like level 6 or 7 or something like that. I don't know. Shout out in the comments if you remember the Temple of Loki. It was cool. The dudes who played it, Steve, a dude named Eddie. It was cool. Good times. All right. That's about the right size, right? So I got to make sure that I don't have any open lines. Now I got to make sure I've got the shadow right, which means I might do the shadow on one of the auxiliary layers, which I have this this layer 13 where I've got the lettering on, you know? And that way I can kind of pull it off and see what it looks like without damaging the drawing underneath. That might be good. All right. Let me pause for just a moment. All right, am I back on? All right. So where was I? Oh, Dungeon 23. So the idea, yeah, is to have this 365 room mega dungeon, well, at least 365 rooms. And I want to do it. And I have the thing all set up for it. I was going to use Cyclopedia Basic D&D, but I decided I have so much more information for Advanced D&D, and I have it all. Of course, I have everything in PDFs now too, as well. But I have my original books. So this is my level 1. It's just a map I did up front, and it's just a hatched map. I'm doing it all with fountain pen. This is what I traditionally do my levels out of. I create a monster palette, which show the um, which also acts as wandering monster table. You can roll on it, but then when you're when you're detailing out the rooms, you can roll on this table or at least look at the table, and that way everything retains a sort of cohesive theme, right? So we know that the first level is going to be a bandit lair, and there's three adventurers who become bandits. Korax, who's like a thief, Omar, who's a rogue. Omar, who's a cleric. Korax is a thief. Omar's a cleric, and then Sigurd is a fighter. And basically, they've hired all these bandits or taken them over somehow, and they're running an operation down there. But there's other things going on the level too. And there's 30 rooms. And um, the way I like to set it up is I like multiple. It's called Twisting Halls of Mortemox. Um, Connections. So there are staircases that this one goes down to level 3, this one goes down to level 2, this one goes down to level 2. So some staircases go down 1 level. This staircase goes down 2 levels, which means 2 months from now. so, um, well, counting January as the first month, January, February, March. So like level 3 won't be started till March is the idea. Now, somebody pointed out that the best way to really do this is to be not just playing but adjusting. But I also find that the way I play tends to be a bit destructive towards the levels. I could definitely um, create the original way these things work, but then undoubtedly, there would be characters and um, NPCs getting killed and stuff like that. Things would be changing all the time, which I don't want to have to account for. The frequency of this appeals to me. It's a whole year long. And I like the idea that this would be a cool thing to make YouTube videos about. Um, it's good content and it is fun. It's something I know a lot about, know how to do it, and something I haven't done for a while. So that's what I'm looking forward to it. How did I mess up these horns? I just did. I was really inspired by looking at those Robert Crumb covers, though, and I want to, like, when I do my new ones, I have enough material for two more editions of the collected Vol, and I think I might do them with interesting covers, like really put in a lot more effort on the covers, a lot more design effort. I am not great at covers. Some people, they treat it as like a real cherry assignment, like they'd rather do the cover than the comic. Not me. All right, let's take a look at it without pencils. I think the light lines work. I think they work. I could go back to layer 13. And that seems to work. I better be in the right layer. I am. Okay. I think that kind of works if I black out the whole horn. Don't you think? And these are meant to be like tree roots or some kind of vegetation. Which also forms another light source. Maybe I shouldn't be too giddy over those. Let's see. What do you think? I think we got it, right? All right. I think I got at least one more monster. Let's see. Yep, there's one over here. That's what that circle was. I thought maybe it was a leaf. I better be on the right layer. Let's get on the right layer. Anyway, I'll have a chance to use my beloved Volt in this dungeon. There will definitely be a room full of them somewhere or something. I don't know what went on with that horn. Did I do that one wrong? Let's see. Let's try this one. It's okay to not go completely symmetrical, in my opinion. I think, that's like real life, but you got to at least, make the effort. All right, let's see. Knowing full well that I am gonna black some of these out. I had dabbled with the idea of making some cave openings in the cliff wall. Maybe even have some creatures peering out. I didn't go for it. Ooh, yeah, that'll look okay because this is foregrounded. Could be some of this gets completely blacked out too. But we won't know until we remove the pencil lines. Okay. Like, is that telling the story enough? We want to be able to start here and then kind of go down and see monster, 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 sploosh, right? So that's the eye line that I'm counting on. All right, let's try and move this. Move it along, little buddy. Let's do the bubbles. They should look like these, so it's got to be that kind of scrolly or parchment style. Nicer corner on that. And okay. And it's just a matter of like the rip in it, kind of. The ripping and the tearing. And that, let us focus. That's the panel, the whole panel. What do you think? If I can only manage to make it out of here alive. Am I too tangenty here? There's a lot of busy shit going on right here. What if I haloed it a little bit? Uh, this? No, this? That's going to be on the inclines. Sometimes you got to halo it up a little bit. All right. I wonder if the way to go really is to go a little bit harder. Get so confused, like where are all the lines going? I think we're just going to have to live with it. Let's see. And then it definitely feels like light's coming in from the side there. Okay, that's where we wanted. Final panel. What are we at? 16 minutes. Well, let's at least do these foreground rocks, then we'll call it a day. What are we on? Ink, that's correct. And then how about these? Be kind of random about them. All right, looks pretty good. Oh, I can tell I'm gonna have to practice my lettering chops. I know I use fonts for lettering. I was looking at um, the segment where he leaves the nightmare void. I don't know if you can see this. Oops. I literally have written the word nightmare there. like like I might change this to say, now leaving nightmare void. And I want to put a sign up here. This way to Wonderland. But I've really got to like beef up my lettering chops. I mean, I could just use a font obviously and stretch it, and that might be what I have to do. But it also has to look kind of like it has to look kind of turn of the century, like a circus font, to reflect the surreal nature of the Wonderland world that he goes to. Oh, and this is weird too. What did I do with the ceiling here? What if I have like a guy or like an eyeball coming out of here? And have it just like you get the idea that there's something weird that's about to happen in Wonderland. And Brillig, being an idiot, right, just walks up the stairs like, looks like I've beat you again, Nightmare Void. And the joke, of course, being that he ends up in some place that's much worse. So I have to rethink. I'm probably going to keep these panels. Actually, I like them quite a bit, but um, what needs to happen just before he goes into Wonderland, which would be right here, like right after this panel, is confrontation with the Dodo God. That has to happen on page 6. And maybe 6 and 7. And that's what I have to do next, I think. Well, I mean, I have to do all these pages first. So, all right. Talk to you later. Please like, follow, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more exciting Brillig action and more comics. and talk to you later.